Will the virtuous Sangha out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tạng thính, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhật thiết chúng sanh, tinh chuyên diệu pháp luân giáo đạo ngã mùng, như há liêu sanh thoát thứ ly khổ đắc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sananto Suchedo Ye Alahudi San Miao San Puto Che. Nam mô Tathagata Toya Daya Alahade Tam Yu Tam Bodha Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I am about to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng shen wei miao fa. 百千万劫难遭遇，我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Huineng, Venerable Shenhua, Venerable Left Home people, and all good known advisors, Emituofo. Chư Phúc Bồ Tát, kính thưa Lục Thổ ở Thượng Kinh Hoa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Chư Phật Bồ Tát, Liêu Chủ Sư Phụ sang rần, ơ quay chư cha rần, ơ quay sang chư sư Emituofo. Hello everyone, today is the 6th of June 2021. Thank you all for coming. We are here in Lu Mountain Temple to do the first Dharma talk of the Summer Chanchi. Tonight is the weekend, so as by tradition, we try to lecture on the sutras on the weekend to teach, to go through, to talk about as many sutras as possible. Okay, we are on chapter 10, the final chapter of the 6th Patriarch Sutra. It's the final instructions. These are the parting gifts, if you will. This the last teachings, if you might say, bequeath teachings of the 6th Patriarch to his disciples. So you can imagine back then he has thousands of disciples gathered, staying with him at his mountain temple in a mountain. They span hundreds, if not thousands of acres, and there's like thousands of monks and nuns studying there. So it's quite a special place. And these people are truly superior people. Why? It shows it's revealed by the kind of instructions he gave them before he left. What did he tell them? Let me remind you. Let's remind ourselves, because it's been a while. Okay. Okay. He says, first of all, you should, as you continue to cultivate, as I'm leaving you, you should know, first of all, that all views are false. Okay? It's right here in slide number 111. All views are false. You should know that. What are views? Views are basically what you believe, what you regard as facts, whether you are, it pertains to your political views or your personal beliefs, what you find to be your smarts, whatever you accrue over your life, what you consider to be facts are what you consider is called a view, or in other words, in particular, your prejudices, okay, are views as well. Is that clear? So any kind of beliefs, any kind of prejudices, any kind of thoughts that you believe to be true are all false. Therefore, he says, don't view anything as true. Now, when we first talked about this a few weeks ago, was it a few weeks ago? Or maybe last month or so. There were quite a few questions. He said, I don't know, I don't understand what he's talking about. And that shows that the quality of the students he had back then is very high. I believe the majority of his students, the residents there, were in the Arhat range or higher. And that's why, even though the statement is shocking to them, just like to you as well, the difference is that when you reach first stage Arhats or higher, you won't be as shocked as if you were lower. So that's why the last time I talked about it, I looked at, who is afflicted, by the way? So those are the ones that are not in the first stage Arhats yet. Okay, so I'm not telling that to put you down, but to remind you, look around. There's so many people who pretend to be first stage Arhat and not be afflicted at all, and some who actually first stage Arhats are higher, okay? Which makes me very pleased in that many of you who have been coming to Lu Mountain Temple. It's funny, we came back here to Lu Mountain Temple, and you've been different kinds of people, men, women, young and old, black and white. It's no black, actually. But some of you, quite a few of you actually, it makes me very pleased, have reached the range. That's why another confirmation for me that you've been working hard, and it shows. It's a pleasure to me. It's my reward, my quiet reward, looking at you and see how you progress by coming to the temple like most people do on the weekends. And over the years, eventually, you develop your own wisdom. Okay, so that's pretty impressive. So, you all did a good job. Okay, many of you. So I'm very pleased. What is a big deal? The big deal is that you know that for most of us professionals, monks and nuns, when I first started, I just craving just reach first stage Arhat. And that's like sagely realms for us. Okay, And so many of you have reached first stage arhats. Actually, many monks and nuns who've been practicing for decades don't even make it. And quite a few who make it who actually became famous are first stage, second stage arhats. Okay? In Hinayana persuasion, if you reach fourth stage arhat, you're a big shot. Okay? So you see, so it's very, very difficult. It's a very significant achievement. And so kudos to you. Okay? What is the big deal to the rest of the world? Someone might ask. They say, well, what's the big deal? You know, I have more money. I'm more famous. It's not a big deal. It's never a big deal to us. What's a big deal is if you reach the realms of wisdom like that, then that's right there. You are a lot less afflicted. First of all, that's your contribution to the world. The world is chaotic. The world has so many upheavals, so much suffering. It's because we pass on our sufferings to others. We infect each others with sufferings. So when you're afflicted, you give your affliction to your wife, to your children, to your neighbors, to your co-workers, to your father, to your mother. That's what happens to us. So that's if you are less afflicted, which means that it only happens when you reach first stage arhatship. That's when we consider you to be have some wisdom, meaning you won't get as afflicted as easily as before. Okay, so that's your silent contribution to society. You're not infecting others around you. You're not polluting. Speaking of being environmentally conscious, which is a hot topic nowadays. Okay, we start with ourselves. We don't pollute wherever we go with our afflictions. Okay, we don't infect others with our afflictions. Okay, how is that for contribution? Okay, small thing, because you don't pollute others, because you don't afflict others. That's why the COVID-19 cannot get to you, cannot kill you. It can come in, but it cannot kill you. How is that? That's a second benefit. You actually are very strong, very resilient physically. Okay? Any other questions or comments? Feel free to add things that I may have overlooked. Those of you who made it. Come on, help me out. Otherwise, it sounds like I'm just bragging and none of you really believes it. So anyway, so I'm just joking. Shut up, don't say anything. So that's why at the time back then, the 6th Patriarch, before he left, he says, I know what you are. I know you're special. That's why I'm going to give you some special instructions. Okay? I'm going to shock you first. Say, whatever you believe, even at first stage arhat, second stage arhat, third stage arhat, fourth stage arhat, it's all false. This includes fourth stage arhat too, by the way, and higher. Okay? Yeah. So that's the first. And then he says, if you believe that, okay, then what is true then? What is in this life that's true? Yes, sir. Is there a question? Go ahead, Purple.
Thank you, Master. So for this, I am not first stage arhat yet. Obviously, I'm very confused by the statement. So for instance, the instruction that you give us for qi, You said that we can use beads to recite Buddha's name. So that is an expedient. So my understanding is that that statement can be said to be not true. But I think as we practice, at some point, something will happen and it will click and become true. So in general, is there some way that I know when something that's not true becomes true?
Okay, very good. Okay, we need to separate your beliefs from instructions. Okay, what you believe, what your views, your beliefs, your prejudices are false. Okay, so that's a sweeping statement. Okay, whatever you believe to be true in this life, whatever the world you build, your life you build, the world you build with your intellect is false. Okay, and if the instructions I gave you, this is a typical Mahayana instruction I give all of you, is in order to bring you there. And this is the superiority of Mahayana, in that we give you instructions on how to get there. Okay, it's not something that can be explained. Okay, it is something that needs to be verified by yourself. Okay, just like look around you, so many of you, even around here, have certified to that, have reached that state or higher, and therefore that's a comfort level you're going to have. Okay, in that the instructions, they got there because they followed the instructions, and this is why in Mahayana whatever you think you understand is not that important to us. Okay, whatever your true understanding is what cannot be explained, what cannot be expressed. Okay, so typically this is also a sweeping statement for all the junk teachings out there. The people who say, I know what the Buddha is talking about, the 6th Patriarch is talking about, is all wrong. Okay? Because it's not about knowledge. It's about, if you really know, you wouldn't talk about it. You really know, you would act accordingly. You don't need to explain yourself. Because when you explain yourself, you create views. Okay? Which you add more falseness, more falsehood to the world. That's all. So in Buddhism, it's just the exact opposite of worldly knowledge, in that we give you special instructions in order to reach that level of understanding yourself. And then you say, when you get there, you say, aha, that's why that is so true. Okay? And that's why in Buddhism it's very hard to fake it. And because the most dangerous people are, right, the one here in the audience, where they listen to my words and, no, it's not true. It's not true to me. Okay? And that happens to Buddha, happens to the 6th Patriarch, happens to every single person. All right? So my master, Master YongHua, did the same thing. He gave instruction for his disciples and certified to pretty high level themselves. And then you don't have to twist your head like that. Eventually you're going to have some neck problems. Just move the thing over. Okay, you guys? Okay? Yeah. Because then I don't have to go like this to look at your eyes either. Those of you who are behind the camera, just move, just scoot over a little bit, move. Unless you want to hide behind the camera, it's okay too. But I noticed some people going like this. Okay, so where was I again? So that's what happened to Master Shenhua. He taught many of his disciples. They certified the first stage arhatship and higher, much higher, and so forth. And so, we are the one who verified it, and therefore we found it to be credible enough ourselves to repeat them. Okay, and try to give you and try to imitate the thing. I'm trying to imitate him by giving you instructions on how to get there, how to certify these what should be called is wisdom. Called wisdom is not common knowledge. It's not views. It's called wisdom. Okay. In order to develop wisdoms, you must be willing to get rid of your views. Okay, so that's why people who came into our training program, especially monks and nuns, the first thing we tell them is, it's not what you think. Okay, it doesn't matter how smart you are. You could have a PhD, you could have a postdoctorate, you could be the most successful man or woman in the world. Okay, you have to start from square one again, because we are whatever whatever was the basis of your success out there doesn't work here. Okay, because all those are false views. All right. So how do you reconcile them? Right. If we're telling you all your views are false, okay, then how do you reconcile them? I don't know. You have to find a way yourself. I haven't figured it out myself. Okay. Yes. Orange.
Dạ, bạch thầy, con xin có cái lời thưa với thầy là nhờ cái hành động của thầy bữa đó thì con nhận được con giải được cái nghiệp của con đối với thầy. Xin cảm ơn thầy.
I didn't get that. Translation.
Master, I could like to say that because of your action back then, that I have a chance to pay back my karma, so I could like to thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I don't know what happened, but it sounds like it's a good thing. Okay. And so you see, this is the kind of relationship the great Master Huineng developed with his disciples over the years. That's why he said, before I leave, okay, let me remind you what I've been doing for you. I've been teaching you the kind of instructions I've been giving you actually lead you to these instructions. So you see, these people it's fair to say these are superior people, that they are qualified to receive these instructions. So it's a privilege for us to have the insight into what the superior teacher taught his superior disciples. Okay, so hold your judgment. You see. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, go ahead.
Master, are views the same as thoughts?
Thoughts?
Are views the same as thoughts?
Views are formed by thought repetitions. Okay? In my simple world, you have a view because these thoughts, similar kind of thoughts keep on arising in your head, and that's why it becomes automatic for you to have such views. Okay? So that's why views are born from thoughts, if you will. If you think, then you are in the process of creating or reinforcing your views. All right? Yes, Red.
Master, so then the goal is to not think.
Thưa thầy,
The goal is not think. Absolutely. Why? Why not? Because thinking is to use your false mind. You start with the false, it cannot bring you to the truth. If you depend on the false, you cannot get to the truth. Yes, Purple.
So when you enter Samadhi, I think one time we said that you don't have false thoughts. So my question is that that's the only way not to have false thoughts, or the other way could be like entering enlightenment, or there's another way not to have false thoughts.
I haven't tried praying to the Lord yet. So, but what I know in Buddhism is that you're right, okay? The reason that Buddhism is so, especially Mahayana, is so heavily dependent on training you and develop your Samadhi power is in order for you to certify to the teachings, in order for you to develop wisdom. Okay? And so this is what happens. Typically, we are so scattered. We have so many thoughts. Okay? We open our eyes and say, oh, look at that. Oh, nice man. You know? Oh, smells so good. You see that? As soon as our sense organs come into contact with are called dusts, okay? The exterior world, thoughts arise in our heads. Yes or no? That's what happens to you. You said, smells so nice. So those thoughts arise in our mind because this is what happens. Our sense organs come into contact with the exterior world. And because those 6 sense organs receive data, thought arises in our mind naturally. That's what happens. So far, so good? So that happens to you day in, day out. Okay? As soon as you open your eyes and you wake up, you start having thoughts because you come into contact. Okay? You get up in the morning, open your eyes, and I feel like a cup of coffee. Yes? I'm hungry. Or I need to call mother. No? Okay, not you, not those people. So, because our heads, like it or not, are full of thoughts, it's a natural reaction to the fact that we come into contact with the external world. I challenge you, this is a fact, I challenge you to find a way to have no thoughts in your heads. Seriously. You try, okay? And what happened is that only when you meditate and you enter Samadhi, you go from zero Samadhi, scattered mind, into first dhyana, which is the first level of concentration, absorption, or Samadhi, if you will, okay? Then, in that mental state, certain kind of thoughts don't pop up in your mind anymore. However, other types of thoughts still appear in your heads. Is it clear? So that's why, depending on your level of samadhis, you have different types of thoughts. So low level, you have, as you reach higher level samadhis, you have fewer and fewer types of thoughts. Okay, so what happens is that when you reach first stage arhatship, which is typically arrived when you follow the Buddhist training, the Buddhist instructions, because the non-Buddhist instructions don't have they don't have the insights, don't have the proper instructions for you to reach that state of mind, where you reach first stage arhatship. Okay, you may have thoughts. Okay, fewer thoughts. You still have thoughts. Okay, you have fewer thoughts though. But what's special about first stage arhatship, as compared to the rest, as compared to the non-Buddhists, is that you're not as afflicted. That's the difference. Okay? That's what I meant by non-polluting first stage arhats or higher. When you reach first stage arhat, you are, people insult you and say, okay, you're hungry, you're afflicted, you're depressed, okay? Depressed is a special case where they're stronger than you. Okay, I take it back. Forget about depression. Okay, but the point here is that when you're afflicted, first stage arhatship, meaning thoughts arise, affliction arise from thoughts. Yes, you say, I don't like this. Huh? I don't like it. I hate it. Okay, so that's a thought right there, negative thought. Even those thoughts arise in you. See, remember, it's not as easy as you think. You think that you can get rid of thoughts. No, it takes a lot of work. Okay, it takes lots of preparation. It's like cleaning a pot that has been burned black. You think you can clean it in just 2 minutes, 2 days? Huh? It takes a lot longer than that, from what I heard. Okay, so you have this first stage arhats where the thoughts arise, okay, the affliction arise, okay, but you don't bark at your children. Okay, that's what I mean by non-pollution, non-polluting people. Yes, you say you upset, but you don't make the situation worse by infecting, okay, your poor husband with your affliction. And that's what I mean by peace on earth. Yes, Orange. Looks like we're going to be stuck here for a while.
What samadhi level is that where you don't bark at people?
You don't bark at people? Okay. The first level where you actually are more, you are less inclined to infect others, I call infection, because you're afflicted and it's like a boiler. You need to let the steam out, okay? Otherwise, you go crazy or you explode, okay? So it's a good thing, actually, that you let steam out and yell at people and beat up on your children. Well, I won't go that far, okay? But the point here is that it's a lot more involved than a simple. It's not something I can give you a straight answer, yes or no. It's not black or white, okay? But it's a process where when you you don't scream at others. Basically, that happens when you become enlightened. It's quite a ways to go for you. All right?
Thưa Thầy, nếu trường hợp khi mình không mang cái tâm hoặc không mang cái tôi đi thì cái trình độ đi tới đâu vậy Thầy?
Master, if we didn't bring ourselves with us, so what level is that?
It's a fourth stage arhat. All right, YouTube question.
Let Go asks, does false thought stop when one is in Samadhi?
Again, false thought is just a generic term for thoughts. Okay, you can drop the false. Yeah, the Chinese tend to make it too mystical to me. If you have a thought, that's false. Okay, so that's why the Chinese says 妄想. So it's a false thought. 想 is thought. 妄 is false. That's all. That's all they say. That's a reminder for you. Any thought is a false thought. Okay, because it came from your thinking mind. Any other questions? Okay, so this Buddhism is about giving you instructions in order to use your false thoughts to arrive at killing those false thoughts. Like use poison to deal with poison. Okay? Any other questions? All right. So you see, so you have to. So the thought, the reminder from the great teacher Master Huineng is that if you have such strong beliefs that you would stake your life on that, okay? That's false. You're in trouble. You know what I mean? Can you give me one belief that you believe to be so true that you stake your life on that, sir? The Catholic there. Okay, give him a microphone. Okay, just for the heck of it, give us a belief you find to be so true. Okay, that you would stake your life on that. You say, okay, I will bet your life on that. Give me one.
That God is real?
That God is real. You see? Sounds familiar? Huh? Okay. That's false. Okay. Anyone else? It takes courage, by the way. You know, he's playing along with me because he knows, you know, that I have my weaknesses. But the point is, he's playing along because he knows how we're talking about. Whatever you believe to be so true in your entire life, okay, that you would be willing to stake your life on that, that's totally false. Isn't that fascinating? It's such a powerful statement. Yes. White.
Hello. Master, how about meditation?
Meditation?
I strongly believe that that's the only way for liberation.
You strongly believe that meditation
is the only way to liberation.
Meditation is the only way to liberation. Anyone, help me out, please. Help! Orange.
If you say meditation is the only way to liberation, but you don't do it, then that's a view. But if you actually meditate and you face it, I don't feel that's a view. You're actually putting it into practice.
It sounds pretty good. Yeah, give the Catholic another chance to create a new view.
However, I may disagree too that there may be other options, other ways that we don't even know of. So my second thing is that, so let's pretend for 1 second I'm Buddhist, and I say, I believe in Buddha. But then that will be creating a false thought. That means that that's not the case. That's a false thought, that the belief of there's a Buddha. That's the question.
Okay. It's also false. If you say you believe in the Buddha, okay, it's also false. Unfortunately, I wish I could say otherwise, but you wanna, you even a Catholic. I'm Catholic. I believe in the Buddha. It's so false. Shame on you. Green, you Catholic, remember? Easy, that's an easy answer, right? I mean, he's Catholic. How can he believe in a Buddha? That's totally false. Green.
Master, the 6th Patriarch, just listened to the verse and become enlightened. He didn't meditate. He only heard the verse and he become enlightened.
He didn't meditate?
He just worked, and then he listened to Invocations, and he became enlightened.
So that's your belief?
That's just the counteract with the Tuha.
You believe that? No? You don't believe in it. Why do you bring it up?
Oh, I'm just, Master say meditation is the only way.
Is that a belief or is it a view?
It's a view.
It's a view. And what does the patriarch say?
It's false.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? You see, we're gonna be stuck here for quite a while. Let's continue. YouTube has the answer. Oh, thank you, Lord.
Let Go says, one belief I believe is true is that everyone has a Buddha nature and can become a Buddha one day with cultivation.
I don't know how to hit him on the head. That's also false. Okay, anyone else? Now we go into the subtle range. Okay, the same kind of, I believe in Buddha nature versus I believe meditation is the only way to go. Okay, that's also false. You see that? Why is it false? You think I'm afraid? Huh? I'm stick to the 6th Patriarch teaching. It's false. I'm committed. He says, any view you have is false. I stand by that. Go ahead. Try me.
No, just to open the mind of Tuha, there may be other ways to meditation or to achieve alignment. Maybe becoming Catholic can be going to alignment, or So that's why I would think that would be a false thought or false. Well, every thought is false for Buddhists, but
So you think that she's confused?
Yes.
Let him have it.
Master, I was a former Catholic. I did other Catholic things and it didn't work.
So she's a traitor. Don't feel bad. There are some Vietnamese Buddhist nuns who quit and became a Catholic nun. What a loser. Never mind. The world is full of, strange things. So. Okay, why are they false? I will summarize it for you. It's not the way you think. Let me explain. What you believe meditation is the only way to go It's not what you think. Okay? If you think that I believe in a Buddha nature, you have no idea what this Buddha nature is. Do you? It's not what you think. It's words to you. Okay? And that's why the Westerners, educated people say, you believe in these things are nonsense. They are basically superstition because you have no facts. Okay? When you talk about meditation, meditation is not what you think it is. Case in point. Meditation to you is crossing legs. Okay? But to them, the monk right there, sitting there, the monk standing there, meditation, the way I train them, is to work. It's not to sit. So to you, meditation is to sit. To them, meditation, the way I train them, is to work. Because it's better for them to work than to sit. To sit, they go crazy. Okay? So you put them to work. And when they work, that's when I teach them how to meditate. If they knew how to do it, they'd be enlightened already. Okay? They are not the first one who are taught to meditate by working. Other people work to meditate, and they made it. So it's, these are facts. So it's not the way you think. That's my proof. Buddha nature. I believe everyone has a Buddha nature. What Buddha nature? What color is it? Huh? Is it black? Is it white? Is it short? I have an obsession with shortness for some reason. Some bitterness when I see short people. Yes, white.
Master, what you just explained, is it the different way to meditate?
Absolutely. Meditation is not the way you think. The way I teach meditation for you is different from others. So that's why to you, meditation, whatever you think meditation is not what it is. Not at all. Okay?
So does that mean the way is still, the essence is still meditation, it's just different method of meditation?
Right. But it's just that you don't know what meditation really is yet. We only see a glimpse of meditation. You only see a few aspects of meditation. You don't really know yet what meditation really is. Okay? Or you don't even know, for example, people say, I recite the Buddha's name. They don't know how to recite the Buddha's name. Okay? Yeah? If you don't know how to recite Buddha's name, the proof is that you can spend decades reciting Buddha's name, you still get nowhere because you don't know how to do it. Okay? And that's why you won't get there. Yes, Orange.
What's the definition of meditation?
Meditation. I give you a very simple definition. Meditation is to do what a good no advisor tells you to. No one's going to jump at me and say, isn't that a view? Is that what you're about to say? You Catholic, you. Okay? Yes, what?
Master, these false views, for example, I had this thought that meditation is the way to to liberation. So because of that thought, I seek out the good known advisor and then get an instruction from him and sit and meditate and to do whatever it takes to lead to liberation. So
Right.
if we have a false view, but then it leads us to reality or to where we wanted to go, how does that?
That's fine. That's good. I hope you get there. I do. But let me put it this way. If you knew, if you really understood meditation, okay, you should be enlightened already. That's why whatever I taught you, what you think is what I taught you, that is meditation, you still haven't understood it yet. I'm not telling you, I'm not withholding information from any of you. It's not our style to withhold information. We're not afraid that you're going to become enlightened and then surpass us. We wish you become enlightened. We hope you surpass us. Okay, that's our tradition. From the 6th Patriarch to all the way down to Master Wei Shan, to Master Yang Shan, all of us are trying to help you become enlightened and surpass us. We're not holding back. Okay, I tell you this right now. I look at the 6th Patriarch. He is the most impressive, if you use Wei Yang, which might be insulting because he's way beyond Wei Yang. He's more Wei Yang than Master Wei Shan and Master Yang Shan. Okay? He's beyond Wei Yang, if you will. Okay? So that's why you still don't understand my instructions about meditation yet. My proof? Would you like some proof? It gets personal. White. Couldn't hear it. Turn on the white.
I would like to know how to meditate, Master.
It's insulting.
Please insult me to crack my head, crack my false view.
If you understood meditation, I'm so sorry, David, you would stop doing yoga. See? Ouch. You see, if you see this, you go into our Buddha hall during a ceremony, and you find someone standing 1 foot, guess who it is? Or you go to the Buddha hall early, and you find someone standing on her head, guess who it is? Okay? Because it's not a bad thing, but it's such a low form of meditation. Okay? Because it distracts you from the primordial instructions on how to do meditation. If you follow any other instructions, it distracts you from where I'm trying to point you. Okay? I teach you to go this way and say, okay, I have 5 minutes, let's do yoga, or let's do Tai Chi, okay, for example. Okay? That distracts you from that mindset. It's okay to do that after you become enlightened, not before. You understand? That's why Master YongHua, at his temples, he allows his disciples to teach Tai Chi and Kung Fu and all those things. I said, not at my temples. I will not allow you to teach Tai Chi, Kung Fu and all those things, okay, yoga, okay, until after you become enlightened. You can learn anything you want, not before, because it distracts you from the gear I'm trying to put you into. Okay? Okay? If you spend half an hour doing that, that's half an hour that you could have meditated in order to become enlightened. That's why. You understand? It's not that we're discriminating against the other non-Buddhist things. It's because it's distraction to you. That's why. Okay? Spy number 1. Okay, we lost a Catholic.
Mô Phật bạch thầy, giống nói về lục tổ Huệ Năng là thầy đi vô gặp được ngũ tổ, thầy ngũ tổ kêu đó là đi ra ngoài sau để nấu bếp đi. Thầy lục tổ Huệ Năng thầy đi là làm không bao giờ mà có nghĩ được những cái gì hết trơn á. Thì ngài cứ làm ngày làm đêm làm hoài. Thì là cái đó là ngài đó là cái thiền định của ngài có ở đó, là ở chỗ đó. Thì theo Quả Ngân cũng không có theo dõi những cái thiền định của lục tổ đó, thì Quả Ngân nghĩ như vậy đó. Chứ Quả Ngân không biết chữ, không biết gì hết trơn. Đi kêu bằng đi vô nấu bếp đi thì ngài cũng đi nấu bếp vậy, không biết làm cái gì hết trơn, nấu làm ngày làm đêm. Là ngũ tổ thì nhìn biết đó là lục tổ Huệ Năng này là có cái thiền định rất là cao. Rồi xong thầy ngài đó thì thằng Tú đó, thầy sư phụ giao cho thằng Tú được 500 người đệ tử, đã giao những phó để cho thằng Tú dạy. Thầy sau đó thầy những cái đệ tử đó thầy mới là tối ngày cứ công khích lục tổ hoài. Thì lục tổ Huệ Năng đó cũng chẳng nghe chẳng thấy chẳng gì hết trên, là cái đó là cái nhẫn của lục tổ rồi đó. Mô Phật thì cũng biết gì đó. Mô Phật.
Master, the 6th Patriarch, when he went over to 5th Patriarch temple, and then 5th Patriarch instruct him go to the kitchen and work in there, and 6th Patriarch just do it as he was told, and he didn't really think about it. He worked day and night. To me, that is a form of meditation, because the 6th Patriarch, he didn't know how to read or how to write. So when he was told to go cook, work in the kitchen, he just followed. And then because he do that, so 5th Patriarch recognized that 6th Patriarch actually has some Kung Fu in meditation. And then in contrast, Shen Xiu has 500 disciples to teach. But then all these disciples were just attack the 6th Patriarch. But then to the 6th Patriarch, he did not hear, he did not see. That is his Kung Fu about patience.
Okay, let me explain to you what happened between the 6th Patriarch and the 5th Patriarch. Okay? That's not explained by the Chinese. If we unveil the Chinese secret, they may not like it. So maybe we shouldn't talk about it. This is really not doing the Chinese, is not fair to the Chinese. So maybe we shouldn't. Okay, YouTube question, go ahead.
Let Go asks, Master,
It's the same let go? He can't let go, can he?
Yes, Master, was the 6th Patriarch meditating through working during his work at the 5th Patriarch's temple, or was it something else?
What do you think? This let go guy is not paying attention easy. What did I say about meditation? What's my definition of meditation? Is to do what the good no advisor tells you to, instructs you. So When the 6th Patriarch came to see the 5th Patriarch, okay, the 5th Patriarch recognized the 6th Patriarch, so he gave him special instructions. Okay, pay attention. You think the 6th Patriarch would say, hey, can I interest you in going back to my backyard and work in my kitchen? It'll be good for you. Can I interest you in getting medicine Master Buddha thing? It'll be good for you. Huh? You think the 6th Patriarch goes around, does it? For him to say anything at all to you, especially to give you instruction, you are special. You agree with that or not? Okay. So the 6th Patriarch, the 5th Patriarch told the 6th Patriarch, shut up, go to my backyard and work. Thresh for rice. That's the instruction. That's it. So what did he do? You guys are looking for things that are not there. The instructions just work. So what did he do? He worked. He didn't sit there and say, I'm going to work, and then during my break, because labor law says I can have a 10-minute break every 4 hours. Okay? So during the 10 minutes breaks, I can do yoga. Or now that Catholic friend is not here anymore, I can pray to God so that I can still connect to my God. Right? No. 6th Patriarch didn't tell him, 5th Patriarch didn't tell him to do that. So what did he do? He didn't tell him to take a break, didn't tell him to pray to God, didn't tell him to do yoga, didn't tell him anything. He told him, work. So what did he do? He worked. Day and night. His mind is what? Bent on doing what? Working. That's called what? Single-mindedness. His mind only thinks of work, 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 work. That's why the 6th Patriarch, even back then, was a superior person. He's so single-minded already. So he worked for 6 months, 8 months, thrashing rice every day. And he found himself, maybe I should carry some stones to weigh myself down so that I can do it better. That's dedication. So, right there, the Chinese didn't explain it to their own people. Okay? That's what Chan meditation is to follow the good knowing advisor's instructions. He didn't say, hey, I didn't come here to work. Teach me. I gave up my mother for this. How can I explain to my mother if she calls me and say, hey son, what are you doing? I miss you. He says, I'm working, Mom. Can I call you back? You see that? No. You see, you guys are so dense. It doesn't bother you. You walk thousands of miles on foot. You come to this place here, and the guy says, and the great known teacher and says, go work. It doesn't bother you. Okay? And that's purity right there. That shows that this individual is truly superior. All he does is to follow the good knowing advisor's instruction. He doesn't sit there and say, oh, I don't know, let me think. This makes sense. This doesn't make sense. I agree. I disagree. Maybe the 5th Patriarch picks on me and makes me work because I'm not worthy. You don't sit there and think. What does he do? He, all day, he says, how do I do this better? Work, 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 work. He doesn't feel sorry for himself, doesn't make excuses. He says, because I'm illiterate, therefore he picks on me. I understand. All the other disciples are better educated than me, are richer than me, are taller than me. You know what I mean? He doesn't make excuses. He doesn't complain. He doesn't whine. You know what I mean? He didn't whine at all. This life is so unfair. I'm poor. And he picks on poor people. You know? I left my mom for this. I'm going back to my mom. At least we have each other. We love each other. What do I have here? No one cares for me. You see? That's the thoughts I would have. I don't know about you, but I would go crazy. And I would quit. I would have quit. Okay? This great man says, okay, he tells me to work, I work. How many smart, intelligent, well-educated, superior people, successful people would be willing to do that? That's why he became enlightened after 8 months. Whereas you successful people have been here for years. And all you could do is make it to first stage arhats or higher. Oh, good Lord. Who needs that? You inferior people. Huh? So that's meditation. See? I can explain a lot more, but I leave some so that the Chinese don't feel so bad. Then we take their Chinese patriarch and turn it into an American treasure. The Chinese don't even know why. Don't even understand. That's Chan meditation right there. Who says you have to do Hua Tou, huh? Korean people. Huh? You do Hua Tou for decades. Are you enlightened? He became enlightened after 8 months, 6 months of threshing rice. When are you going to wake up? You're so proud of your tradition, and you overlook, you call yourself, what is it? Chao Si? Choge? Huh? Choge? Huh? Choge is, in Korean means Chao Si. Chao Si means that's where the 6th Patriarch teaches. So they say, our Buddhism is from Chao Si, you know. And what they do? They do Hua Tou. 6th Patriarch doesn't need Hua Tou to be enlightened. Are you kidding me? Sorry, I just offended a few Sunnis. Go ahead, Orange.
Dạ thưa Thầy, vậy Ngài Đục Tổ trong cái khoảng thời gian sống trong những người thợ săn đó, Ngài đã đạt được những cái gì trong cái khoảng thời gian đó?
I don't know.
Tại vì nó có phải là Đục Tổ đã chứng nhận được biết được cái tự tánh của mình hay không?
He became enlightened after 8 months in the 5th Patriarch, and he ran away to stay with the hunters for 16 years. And that's to work on his skills. Okay. Anyway, it's a well-known Chinese thing. Okay, you need time to work on your skills, develop skills. Okay, it's because we do it slightly differently. We teach you skills. We give you special training to develop skills at the same time as meditation. Oh, he's back. There you go. Okay, so you see, but for the 6th Patriarch back then, he didn't have the circumstances were different, so he had to become enlightened first, and then over 16 years develop skills in order to help others and teach others. It takes skills before you can teach. And then once you start teaching, you develop further skills as well. Okay? And this is what needs to happen in the Saha world. In the Pure Land, you go there and boom, you develop, reach a level immediately as soon as you get there. Because Amitabha Buddha spoke Dharma to you. That's a different environment. Here, we speak Dharma to you, you don't get it. You go over there, the Amitabha Buddha speak Dharma to you, boom, you're done. Okay? All right. Any other questions? Yes, YouTube.
So Master, the Chinese history has a famous event. The great king Da Yu was fixing the flood issue for his country and passed by his own home 3 times but didn't enter. Was that single-mindedness?
I dropped a few words here and there, so I hear Da Yu, the emperor who worked on the floodgate, the flood wall, whatever, and then what?
Worked on a flood issue in his country and passed by his own home 3 times but didn't enter.
Passed by what?
His own home.
His own home? Didn't enter his home?
Mm-hmm.
And what is the question?
The question was, is that single-mindedness?
Well, he went to the bathroom somewhere else. I don't know. Too detailed, too much information. Anyone else? You too, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, that was the end of the questions.
Okay. Now, so what is the truth then? The great master says, first of all, whatever you believe, whatever your views are, okay, are false. Sweep them off. So meaning that, I know, you don't, we still give you time, but be aware beware that your views, whatever you find to be true, you're willing to stake your life on, is false. Beware of that, okay? He doesn't expect you to drop everything right away. All he's doing is says, beware, okay? You think you're Vietnamese, okay? And you have Vietnamese ways. That's false, okay? You think you are Republican and you voted for a certain way. I've proven to you, you're false. You believe you're a Democrat. Huh? And you say, I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat. Okay? I've been accused of being a Democrat because I criticize Republicans. Okay? That view is also false. All right? Whatever you want to believe about me, it's false. So far, so good? Okay? So what is true then? What is true? What can you count on? You cannot say that everything is false, so what's the point? I'm out of here. Right? If everything is false, whatever you tell me, next is going to be false regardless. Right? So you should be standing up, ready to get up and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm wasting my time here. I'm going back to my yoga, going back to my Catholicism, to my God, and all those places. Okay? And going back to my, my teacher, and never mind but it's false and true here, because it doesn't matter. Whatever he tells us is false. No. What is true then? I don't know. I forgot. Okay. Where were we again? What slide number were we on? 111? No, that's false. 119? Okay, so we finished the point. Okay, so what is true? It's true in anything. Okay, and okay. He says, it's your thinking mind that's false. Meaning that if you depend on your thinking, meaning your discrimination, your distinguishing, brightness from darkness, white from black, okay, yin from yang, okay, losses from benefit. If your mind thinks like that, then whatever you come up with is false, because you depend on the false thinking mind. So far, so good? Okay. However, there is this Buddha nature in you that's separate from your thinking mind. Okay? Which you have already. Okay? That is just as capable of discriminating black from white, yin from yang, loss from gain. Okay? But what's different about it is that it doesn't get excited like you. So far, so good? Your thinking mind is false because it gets excited, it gets afflicted. So that's why when you practice, okay, and you see whatever happens, you think you are enlightened or not enlightened, doesn't matter. If your affliction arises, you are in a state of confusion. That's all there is to it. Okay? But if you're able to discern, you were able to say, I like this. That's beautiful. But you are not afflicted. Okay? That is the function of the Buddha nature right there. Free from afflictions. That is true. So now he introduced the concept of movement and non-movement. Movement is affliction. You're afflicted, your mind moves. Wow! Let's get vaccinated. It's some prizes. You can become a millionaire. Okay? Your mind moves. Because before that, you're not willing to get vaccinated. Proof that you are not enlightened. Because your mind moves. Before you say, I ain't getting vaccinated. Until you found out that in California, they give you $1.5 million if you drawn. And you say, okay, now I'll go vaccinated. And now I will get vaccinated. And by the way, folks, close our temple. There's a place real close by. Okay? So your mind moves. Right? So what's the difference? What if you refuse, you don't believe in vaccination, okay? Because that's a false view anyway. Okay? How do you vaccinate it and become true? Ooh! Orange.
Thank you for removing my mind, Master.
So you don't get vaccinated?
Getting vaccinated becomes true when your good-knowing advisor tells you to do it.
Is that a view? It's Chan. See? You guys got it? Huh? We don't know how true or false, but we know it's Chan. We go vaccinated because it's a Chan thing. Hey, Tex tried to criticize that. Tex is dead set against vaccination, by the way. Tex is not the character we have, or personality we have. Okay, anyway. You see that? So that's you go vaccinated, but your mind doesn't move. Okay, meaning that you're not moved by the gain because you get immunized, as if you need it. Okay, you go get vaccinated anyway. Okay, and if you win a super lotto, if you win the lotto, you give it to the temple. You make yourself a promise, to prove that you are not moved by the prize money. Agree? I mean, make sense? I mean, strike that. Make sense? You see what I mean? Okay? So you see, as long as you do those things and you're not moved, you're not afflicted, you're not motivated by greed, you're not motivated by bitterness, you're not motivated by, whatever, okay? Your mind is unmoving, absolutely unmoving. Where's my cursor? I can't even find it. Right here, unmoving. See that? You do things and your mind's unmoving. And that's a function of your Buddha nature. You are able to do that. It's just that as soon as you do that, you cannot discern the difference between that and your mind jumping in. You're capable of doing that yourself. Okay? But you allow your mind to jump in, your thinking mind to jump in and brag about it. Say, see, my mind is not moving. Yes, Q&A.
Người nhờ con trình cái câu hỏi này là việc gì cũng chờ thiện tri thức dạy bảo rồi mới làm, thì từ từ như vậy là biến thành robot và cái tâm nó sẽ không có linh động và không có giải quyết kịp thời những cái công việc khó khăn ở trước mắt. Như vậy là cái tâm sẽ trở thành thụ động.
There's a person that asked me to ask the question that if everything was rely on the instruction of the good knowing advisor, then you become a robot. Your mind is not as flexible, and then you cannot solve the problem, the difficulty in time. So you are very inflexible.
True. We like robots. That's, but think about it. We are 50 years ahead of our time. In 2020 and 70, in that range, we all become robots anyway. Because the corporation will take over the world. And then the human race will be extinct, And we have robots. Bionic man, bionic women, something like that. Yes, Orange.
Master, better. 2070, we can have robots doing the heavy lifting for us, doing the long sits.
Absolutely.
And then they can
meditate for us.
To us the advantages they've gained in their mental.
Yeah, we push a button and say, meditate and become enlightened. Number 2, yellow button is enlightenment. And the robot becomes enlightened. And then, and those are the more expensive models, by the way. Question from Korea.
Hello, I have a question about Hatto. So in the other lectures, Master mentioned that Weiyang training is the very only way to surpass the teacher. But isn't the Hatto one of the only methods that will enable you to surpass the master?
Oh, there are
because
many
in
ways.
Korea, so the senims.
Yeah, there's so many ways. There's so many ways.
It
It's
seems
just
like
hard or
they
too slow.
have a huh? Hello.
It's so slow.
Okay.
Oh, you had a question?
Yes.
Okay. Give us the slow question.
Slow question?
Slow enlightenment question.
Speak slowly or what does it mean?
Okay. Never mind. Okay. You two, go ahead.
Let Go asks, so Chan is not the same as true, Master?
Chan is the same as true? Chan is false. Absolutely. Chan is to help you see the the falseness in you. Yes, God-man.
So that means that everything that comes from the mind is false. Everything that comes from your own, how do you guys call it? We call it spirit or soul is true, or human. What do you guys call it? Human nature.
Jeez.
So everything that comes from the human nature, Buddha nature is true, and everything that comes from mind is false.
Well put. Anyone else? He sounds more and more Buddhist. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. All right. Where were we? Okay, so the truth is in you already. That's the good news. That is, your Buddha nature, your Buddha mind is able to to see the truth. It's just your thinking mind intercepts it, constantly. That's why. That's why as you become more educated, as you become more experienced, your thinking mind becomes more dominant. Okay, so Buddhism is a set of instructions, mind you. It's not beliefs, it's not philosophy. Don't believe in that baloney crap the Chinese give you and the scholars give you. The scholars like to tell you that Buddhism is a philosophy. It isn't. Okay? Buddhism is far from being philosophy. Okay? It's not a religion either, because it doesn't believe in God. You know what I mean? Speak your mind.
But that was one of the arguments that I was having with many, many years ago, maybe 10, 12 years ago, with one of the scholars that told me that. He said, yeah, Buddhism is a philosophy, Catholicism is a religion. I said, to my own thinking, it cannot be a philosophy because they have traditions, they have things to follow. I explained to this person. So for me, it's a religion. As well, Catholic, because they have to believe in something in order to pursue whatever they have to pursue.
It's a temporary belief. They believe in whatever it is they believe, okay? But eventually, they have to let go of that belief is false. Okay, so the question raised from San Jose was that if you only follow the good knowing advisor's instructions, aren't you becoming a robot? Okay? Let me ask you, does it make sense to you, the objection? Yes, my favorite disciple here. We know what the answer is going to be.
Thank you, Master. The question makes sense to me when I was sitting at Blue Mountain Temple 7 years ago. It was a question I had for myself. It can feel like you don't have any individuality, any input into what's good for you if you're only listening to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I empathize with the question, but sitting in Blue Mountain Temple 7 years later, when I
still feels the same way. But he says, thank God now I listen to my wife. Ouch.
Earlier, I was going to say the first level of Samadhi is the same as 5 years of marriage, but I digress. What I would share with the person who asked the question now is the most flexible I've had to be is listening to my good knowing advisor and not listening to my ego.
I told you, he's my favorite. And his wives too. Anyone else would like to chime in? But joking aside, can we be real? Would you believe you can turn anyone to a robot? Really? In the history of mankind, we have so many stories about slaves, yes? As close to being a robot as possible, yes? Right? That's the closest thing to a robot, human robot, are slaves. Okay? And the next one is lost in space. You know, R2D2, whatever. The point being that I think in the history of mankind, no one has ever been able to turn any human being into a robot. Right? So what is the wisdom in trying to turn someone into a robot? So the objection is nonsense, to put it politely. Because I don't know who ever objected, so I need to be careful. You got my point? What is the wisdom in there? If the Buddha supposedly has wisdom and he tells us to do certain things, if the 6th Patriarch is supposed to be a man with great wisdom, and he tells us and gives us instructions, and we're supposed to abdicate and defer everything to him and become a robot, then what's the wisdom in there? Because he will fail for sure. Yes? If you believe that argument, then I just proved to you that the instructions are not meant to turn you into a robot. But the instructions appear to that person who objects. This person sees instructions from good no advisors as something that will turn him or her into a robot. Then don't listen. What's the big deal? You're afraid you turn to a robot? Don't listen. And that's what, by the way, you're not the only one. Because some people, just meditate and they do yoga, and some people, other people, So the argument say, I don't want to become a robot, it's nonsense, because you're going to become a robot anyway. We know that you will refuse to become a robot. Green.
Thank you, Master. I wanted to add a comment. I agree with what Master just said. And from my own observation, I think by inflating one's ego, letting them do what they think is best for them, and in that direction, it can really take a people to something that's very close to a robot. Basically, a machine that optimizes a function, like maximizing their own personal interest. So their actions become quite predictable. So I think it's the opposite. It's not listening to people and always trusting your ego that makes one into something that is more like a robot.
What about artificial intelligence as long as we're there? What do you think?
My understanding that is pretty shabby, but I would say that from my understanding, the artificial intelligence that we have, the essence of it is an algorithm that does optimization. And then the humans set the goal of the optimization, at least today. The humans set the goal of the optimization. So when your ego set the goal, for instance, to maximize your own personal interest, and then you totally follow that, then it is almost indistinguishable from an artificial intelligence. Your total facility is dedicated to doing the optimization and never question whether the goal makes sense or question whether the process makes sense. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, White.
I agree with Ray, Master. Because, as far as it's still a machine, a program, it's being programmed by a person, and the smartness and the intelligence of the machine still has a limitation of the person.
It's
Okay?
still artificial, if
Yes.
you will. The name right there, the word right there, artificial intelligence.
Yes.
It's so artificial.
Yeah, they still they have some the machine learning. They still have some capability of learning from, but it's still within an algorithm that people programmed it. So it still has a very limited set.
Therefore,
It doesn't have free thinking yet.
Therefore, I would never allow a car to drive itself while I'm on it. I don't care about you. This is what I'm getting at. I don't care about whatever you were thinking about artificial intelligence. Okay, dear beloved disciples, do not ever allow a car to drive you by itself. Please, please. We invested so much in you. Don't throw your lives away and your limbs away on believing Elon, okay? He's just a cheap salesman.
Yeah, because those who the cars that drive by itself, they come with certain condition that is preset into the program. So under this condition, then the car will realign. But then there are so many unpredictable things that are happening that is without being programmed yet. So that's where the faulty comes in.
Right. They haven't learned about those.
Yeah, they haven't
dangers
learned
yet.
about those conditions yet.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Don't believe Elon. Yes, sir. See, my monk is so busy. You see, that's part of Chan. It's it kind of, you won't believe it, like our monks are doing Chan. Actually, they are. They've been working all day, comes lecture time, they keep busy. Yes, Orange.
Thank you, Master.
Excuse me, before I forget, in the typical temple, that's sacrilegious. They're supposed to sit on somewhere and you serve them, head to toe, right? But here, they keep working. And they're still not enlightened yet. Damn. Excuse me. Go ahead, Orange.
Thank you, Master. I have to say I'm very surprised and happy to participate in a Dharma talk about artificial intelligence, unexpected. And my personal view, which is clearly false, is, artificial intelligence, when it becomes superhuman, meaning smarter than humans, is a very dangerous thing. But the reason I agree with you and would never let a car drive itself, let a car drive me without me driving the car, is regardless of the ego or the talent of the person who's initially creating the artificial intelligence and allowing it to grow and make itself smarter with machine learning, is I don't think they can ever account for karma. Karma operates independently of algorithms. It's a force unto itself.
So true. For now, for this day and age, with all due respect to the superior artificial intelligence, I don't think they program into those cars to avoid the areas where they pick on the Asians. I don't trust them. I don't care what you say. You know what I mean? It's not programmed yet. Would you get on, a car and whatever, lift car, or, and they drive you to, the gas station where they pick on you? Oh, good Lord.
Whereas, Master,
I would avoid those places myself.
I completely agree. I think the artificial intelligence could become a vessel for your karmic obstructions, and unbeknownst to it. But I feel strongly that if my hands are on the wheel, for better or for worse, I have the protection of being your disciple and from your Dharma protectors helping me. So.
Okay, YouTube answer.
Let Go says, you do not become a robot if you cultivate properly or follow the directions of your good knowing advisor properly, because true robots cannot become enlightened.
Very good. About time he says something that makes sense. Okay, Q&A.
Anh Di Đà Phật. Dạ thưa thầy, con xin phép được trả lời. Dạ theo cái thiện ý của con á, thì khi mình còn vô minh thì mình luôn luôn dùng cái thức phân biệt để suy nghĩ, để làm việc, cho nên nó luôn luôn là sai. Và bây giờ mình muốn giác ngộ thì mình không có thể dùng cái ý thức đó để giác ngộ được, cho nên mình cần phải có sự hướng dẫn của thiện tri thức để mà dạy cho mình khỏi có phải phân biệt suy nghĩ gì nữa, thì tới một lúc nào đó mình chuyển được cái thức thành trí thì gọi là giác ngộ.
Master, based on my personal opinion, I feel like when you are still confused, you still use your discrimination mind to work, that is wrong. In order to attain enlightenment, you need to follow the good knowing advisor instruction to the point you don't think anymore. So that's when you turn from thức to trí, and then that is enlightenment.
Yeah, turn consciousness into wisdom. Okay, that's enlightenment. Korea, comment.
Regarding listening to good knowing advisor, I don't think it's a problem, because number one, listening to the good knowing advisor and follow everything is really, really difficult. So people shouldn't worry about it. It takes a long time. And then number two is that if it's a really good knowing advisor, I don't think he will force you to do anything. From my own experience, Master doesn't force people to do anything. You just listen to things and then you pick and choose. So robots don't do that.
Thank you. Hey, is that I see in Korea a face I recognize, YongHua Sunim, right? Is she there? She snuck out of her temple and okay, well, welcome. Good to see you. Huh? You enlightened yet? Okay. What do you do when people have such objections? And they say, you're telling me to abdicate and relinquish my right to govern myself, to use my judgment. Why would any intelligent and smart people or educated people would be willing to do that? It's a fair objection. Okay? It says, I'm smart, I'm educated, I have a good life. I learned so much. I'm so experienced. Okay, why would I be willing to, defer to, a illiterate person like a 6th Patriarch? All due respect, he may have wisdom and so forth, but I know about my stuff. What does he know about my life? What does he know about what's best for me? Huh? This is a common objection. What do? While you think about that, let's get the YouTube question.
Let Go asks, when parents are absolutely obsessed with their own belief as right and do anything and everything to force their children to act their way, isn't this act in itself a robotic act?
No. They love the children. You're not a parent, clearly. We want what's best for our children. Okay? When you become a parent yourself, you know that's just the case. We care so much that we protect them. We make sure that they don't make mistakes. Want good things to happen to them only. Until you become a parent, you wouldn't know how it's like. Okay? In fact, a good no advisor is the same thing. They want the best thing for their disciple. They want to protect them and so forth. The difference is that they're not afraid to let you get hurt. Anyone else? Okay, can we go to have some real Dharma, please? Have 10 more minutes. Unless you have more questions. You want to learn something? Ready to learn something? I ask you a question. What can you tell those people who says, you try to turn me into a robot. You're trying to brainwash me. What can you tell them? Yes, orange.
Thank you, Master. From my experience, I asked my good knowing advisor for advice because I didn't have the answer myself. And after many attempts, many stubborn attempts, of doing the same thing or similar things, trying to find an answer, it didn't work. And in my opinion, the smartest people have the courage to admit when they don't know something, and they look for the best advisor they can to help them overcome and solve their problems, overcome their obstructions.
Okay. Red.
I think that's such an interesting question, because the person, the way it sounds, it almost sounds like the person's kind of indignant. Like why would I listen to somebody else besides myself? But I would kind of counter to them and say, well, gee, then why are you even talking to someone else if you have all the answers? And if you've been just following yourself all this time, well, how's that been going for you? Because obviously, if somebody's been searching, then you have to be willing to admit maybe there is a better answer. And be willing to try it.
Okay, anyone else? Well, just between us. Okay? I hope this person doesn't listen in. Okay? Yeah. Why does he even bother asking us a question? Seriously. I would walk out. I say, you a bunch of losers. You're all robots. I'm not a robot. You're all robots. I'm out of here. Right? That's what I would do. Like, oh, someone almost walked out. But he chose to come back. You see my point? If, this person basically doesn't believe. He thinks as if someone gives you instructions, hey, son, don't stick your finger into the flame. Don't touch hot surfaces. And he says, I don't believe you. Let me, I'm going to do it my way anyway. Go for it. Right? So he's trying to make an argument. He basically says, I don't believe you. And this is what happens. Okay? Don't worry. Such person, would meet with the 6th Patriarch. You think the 6th Patriarch would say anything to him? Like, go to the backyard and thresh rice? You think? Because if the 6th Patriarch looked at him and said, go in the back and work, the guy would have probably have said, I'm no robot. You can't tell me what to do. Then the 6th Patriarch would have wasted his saliva, hasn't he? My point here is that you're given instructions because you deserve it, because someone's doing you a favor. Okay? So this is why, this is a tenet in Mahayana, you're not given instructions until you deserve it. So don't worry, when we give you instructions, the thought that, are you trying to turn me into a robot would not even cross your mind, I assure you. Okay? So have no fear. When you meet with 6th Patriarch, this person, I would take my life, okay, that's a view, that the 6th Patriarch would not tell him anything at all. Wouldn't say anything at all. Okay? He wouldn't believe it anyway. If the 6th Patriarch has wisdom, he would not even bother. Make sense? So don't worry. So the answer is don't worry, No one's trying to turn you to a robot. It's okay. Yeah. It doesn't work for everyone, basically. Our disciple's a robot. You're not a robot. It's okay. After all these years, you still refuse to become a robot. Anyone else? Okay? It's okay, now we can learn some real... Oh no, I have one more question.
Well, I'm a Catholic robot, so...
You what?
Catholic robot.
He's a Catholic robot, you see? All right, anyone else? Okay, yeah. All right, how much more time do I have? I think time is basically up. A few more minutes, that's it. What about, can we have a joke or something? Because no point in trying. Okay, sorry, another emergency. Okay, I apologize. Okay, okay. So, a few more minutes. Let's kill time. orange.
Thank you, Master. Just a story to share for the person asking the question, who I have a lot of empathy and compassion for. I think it's an important question. When I was little, we had a wood-burning stove in our house, where we'd put wood logs in, and that was our main source of heat. And it was this, I don't know, like 4 foot by 2.5 foot tall black stove, and it had like a picture of like a moose and like the forest, and it was just kind of always very interesting to me, because when you're 4 years old and 5 years old, it's like, oh, the heat comes from there. It feels good. And my mom would tell me, she would get nervous when I get too close. She'd say, no, Peter, don't touch the stove. The stove's very hot. And I'd say, okay, Mom. And then one day when my mom wasn't looking, I said, I don't know that Mom knows what she's talking about, and I want to see if the stove is as hot as she says. And so I walked up to the stove, and I put my hand on it, and it didn't feel like anything for a second. And then it started to get really kind of cold, and I was like, that's not hot at all, that's cold. And then my hand started to burn a lot. And so for the next hour, I was crying and screaming, and then my mom put the wrong medicine on my hand at first, which made it hurt more, and shenanigans ensued. But I learned about myself early on that I was very stubborn, and I wouldn't listen to my good knowing advisor at first, which is okay. I think, I knew I had to learn the hard way, but just to share with the person asking the question, I don't want to be a robot either. And I've definitely resisted the instruction of my good knowing advisor. Your results will vary if you choose to give yourself a chance to listen to the direction. So just to share.
You see, that's exactly why we don't want to tell you anything until you're ready. Okay? Because sometimes the instructions will incite you to just do the exact opposite. That's why you don't say anything. Okay? Because if you give an instruction, you do exactly the opposite, we're actually harming you, aren't we? So that person who gives you instruction has no wisdom whatsoever. Okay? You want to hurt yourself, feel free to hurt yourself. We don't need to help you. So that's the premise. That's that this person has this. It's unfortunate that this person has no trust, basically. That if you go through life and only trust yourself and no one else, you're a very, very lonely person. Okay? So this person is very, very unhappy, miserable, and that's my 2 cents worth of therapy for him. For her. Okay? And that's why you see, bottom line is boys and girls, especially left home people, this is why I keep on telling you, don't say anything. Okay? We don't have to say anything at all until they deserve it. How do you know they deserve it? Baby steps. Give them baby steps, small instructions. Don't ask them to say, all your views, don't tell them all your views are false. That's too much. Okay? What you do is, just like in everything else in life, it's not about cultivation, it's about your life experience. Like everything else in life, okay? You need to take time to build the trust. Okay? Trust has to be built upon before you can give them instructions. They don't trust you, it's no point in giving instructions. They can be coming to the temple for years and meditate with you, where they say, I come here and pick and choose what I want. Okay? Don't give them instructions, because they're going to pick and choose whatever they want. It's no point. Got that? You're trying too hard. You're being foolish. You're trying too hard to help people. Okay? We cannot help people. They create their own karmas. They don't need our help. Okay? But if you say anything, they blame the mistakes on us. So shut up and wait until they're ready for instructions. Okay? How do you know they're ready for instructions? They have to ask. Don't volunteer information. The reason that the 5th Patriarch look at the 6th Patriarch and say, you go to my backyard and work. Why? Did the 6th Patriarch say, teach me? He says, I came here because I want to become enlightened. And the 5th Patriarch says, barbarians can become enlightened too? Okay. So the point here is that the instructions are given because it's asked for. And Westerners, they don't know how to ask questions. That's why you have to be very careful. Just because they ask, you can't even tell them even. Understand? The 6th Patriarch, when he asked to be taught, he walked thousands of miles by foot. He gave up his own mother. That's called sincerity. Here in the West, in the modern era, people come to you and say, teach me. I say, really? I should teach you? You hop in your car, stop by here on your way to your football game. Okay? As soon as I tell you something, you immediately rush, go to your shopping center, have some gyros. And I'm supposed to teach you? So be careful. Don't fall into the trap of trying too hard to help people. We cannot help people. We can't. Until they're ready. Okay? Because you do it prematurely, they will burn bridges. They don't have a chance to come to you when they really need it. That's why it's your responsibility to develop the proper timing. Don't try so hard. I'm not talking about you left home people, but you as well, all of you, when you go home. Don't try to open your mouth and try to teach your sister and your daughter and your son and say, I learned so much and this is so right and you don't know what you're doing. Who asked you? You keep on making the mistake over and over again. Convinced that, that she believes in the wrong monk, that, Loon Mountain Temple is better and so forth. Who asked you? Wake up. Okay? Any other questions? We just BS for 2 hours. And that we call Mahayana. Okay, thank you all. Next time we pick up from 121.